All right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Row Report, and actually a special edition because, as you see beside me, we have a special guest, and this is Justin from JK Survival Bushcraft. How are you today, Justin?
I'm doing great. How about you, Jason?
I am doing well. I am super excited for you to finally join me. I know our schedules have not quite meshed up, but here we are finally.
It's been busy.
That it has, and we're going to talk about that. Quick reminder for all of you. This is a premiere, so we are both going to be live in the chat so you can say hi and ask questions to us. But for all of you that do not know Justin, I'm going to turn it over to you and you just give your intro.
All right. Well, my name's Justin Harrington, JK Survival Bushcraft. We are a startup company, my wife and I. She is the backbone of and the brains of the operation, and I am the and I am the gopher. Basically, a little bit about me. I grew up as a young child in a rural area, and while I had friends, I spent a lot of time alone, and I learned the trade of being in the woods. My family hunted and trapped. I ran a trap line when I was 8 years old. Uh, every day, every morning, every night, ran a trap line. Learned how to hunt whitetail, bear. We'd go to Canada, fishing, canoeing, kayaking, all the normal outdoor stuff that every young boy just dreams and loves of doing. And that never went away. It never stopped for me. All my career paths have all been outdoor related in some way, shape, or form. I went to college, went to the Army, got out of the Army, started in a trade. I spend the majority of my time working outside. I can't get away from it, even in the winter when it's cold and the summer when it's hot. The bushcraft survival part of it, it's kind of funny because in the last 15 years, you see all these shows on TV, the Alone, Survivor. I was doing all that on my own because it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it. I just went out in the woods. I'll take 3 or 4 items and let's go see how long I can live and get by. Sometimes I'd be gone for 2 days. Sometimes I was gone for 2 weeks. There's no better way of learning what you can and can't do until you go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I had the skills in the background. I grew up hunting and fishing, so learning how to catch a fish wasn't something hard. If you don't have fishing line, what do? That type of stuff. But you'd be amazed at how resourceful you can become when you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've done a lot of different things. A lot of things in the military, a lot of things out of the military. Starting our own little business. This was kind of a joint venture between my wife and I. She basically said, "Hey, if you're going to do something, do it now while you're still young enough." And
Mm-hmm.
not that I'm dating myself too much, but I'm a little bit older. I still move around pretty good. I give the young bucks a run for the money, but we do a lot of different things. We teach, we instruct, we give one-on-one classes, we do corporate retreats, all bushcraft survival and prepping related. And how does this all fold into like the prepping aspect of it from where you're coming from, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
That I've been prepping without even knowing it my whole life. And I think a lot of people are just like that. We prep not because it's a thing, not because it's prepping. It's just a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that at a very early age from my grandparents. My grandfather was telling me stories about the Great Depression. He was, I think, 12 years old, and he literally left home so that his brothers and sisters could have food to eat. And he hoboed all over the country. He rode the rails. He was 12 years old. So he had all kinds of stories, And I learned a lot of different things from him. One of the things I remember vividly is asking him about his garden, because he always had this big, huge garden. He had 10 children. Ooh. Always had a huge garden and a big root cellar. And I was, well, what's going on with the root cellar? Why do you put food in the ground? At 10 years old, you don't understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. He's like, that's insurance, kid. He used to call me kid. Everybody, all the kids were kids. But I learned from him at an early age that it's okay to have something set back mm-hmm. for later. It doesn't hurt anything. It's insurance, really, of the most important kind. Yep. The best you can do for yourself is to become physically fit so that you can handle anything. Mm-hmm. But then prepping is just basically living mm-hmm. and making sure that you can keep living. if you lose your job, if you get sick, if your spouse gets sick, both of you lose your jobs. And there's been a time in my life when I've actually had to use my preps,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad I had them. 3 young kids, a sick father, and no job. You learn pretty quick that, boy, I'm glad I had some cans that put back,
Mm-hmm.
and even the simple things, toilet paper, dishwashing fluid, laundry detergent, it all adds up pretty quick. So that's kind of in a nutshell, the whole story behind why I got into prepping. And prepping for me it's a lifestyle. I dedicate a certain amount of time every day, whether it's an hour of research or actual hands-on, heat sealing beans and rice and, looking for deals, every day I do a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, but a little bit. And you get a little bit closer and closer, and you get a little bit better and better every single day. One of the things that I try to focus on for me and our family is being prepared so that the entire family, not just my wife and children, but also parents, extended family, we have a place where everybody can come,
Mm-hmm.
everybody can be taken care of. You would be amazed at what you actually need if you have 14 or 16 people in your home. We have extra air mattresses. You never know what you're going to need. And it's great for the grandkids come over and they want to have a camp out. You can blow them up, throw them in the living room. There you go. Everybody's happy. But I also go a little bit beyond that. I have bug out bags for everybody in the family. I even have bug out chests, that are on wheels. So you literally, if you have to go, you just grab your bag, grab your chest, wheel it up, throw it in the truck, and you're good to go.
Yep.
Nothing else needed. I do everything in stages. So there's particular applications for every single thing. I have a lighting section. A lot of people have lighting bags with flashlights and lanterns and so on and so forth. I have batteries stockpiled, and everything is in its place, and everything is there if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, this last 2 months, I was gone. I was out of state for 2 months. And that was a new thing for the family, for me being gone 2 months. They needed things. They ran out of batteries. Well, the boy knows where the batteries are at. He can go down and get batteries.
Mm-hmm.
There's no issue with using something because we have it. That's what it's there for. But they know where to find the stuff at. Not everything. Some of it would be pretty hard for them to pull a tote down and pull out the rice and then not know what to do with the rice.
Right.
There. The business side of it for me, and I don't really push the business side. I probably should. I should be a little bit more active in that. I prefer not to do that because that's not who I am. I'm not a pushy salesman type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I do what I do. And if you like that and you want to learn from it and you want to be a part of that, I am more than willing to do anything I can to help you.
Mm-hmm.
I do post a little bit on social media when I make something new, and Lord knows I've got a ton of stuff here to show and tell. We don't have enough time. I can promise you that. A lot of interesting things, everything from knives to fire starters to bow drills to flint. I brought something really cool back from Utah.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, wow.
That's a chunk of agatized petrified wood.
Wow.
If I can get that in the camera real good.
That is amazing. That's beautiful.
I literally loaded the truck up. I was out there working. So we were working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. The first week there, we were on 6 days. So I had a day off. And after work, I would go. I was gone. I was out hiking mountains, running trails, just exploring and having a good time. But I found a lot of different stuff, a lot of cool experiences, old mines, malachite and azurite, and you name it, I found it. Even found some fossilized wood and some petroglyphs and dinosaur tracks, and you name it, I found it. It was absolutely amazing. It was really hard to get out there and do it, working 12 hours a day. A lot of times I wasn't back until 3 hours after it was dark. And I learned a lot of different things as well on the bushcraft and survival side of it. one of the things is that I knew I was going to be gone for at least a month. I knew that I was going to be gone for a month. I didn't know how long, maybe 2 months. And that ended up being what it was, almost 2 full months. And I prepped accordingly. So my truck, I gathered all my tools up that I think I could need, had them all in a nice organized little bag, socket set, you name it, anything I thought I could need, spare radiator or, spare radiator fluid, washer fluid, you name it, I had it. Just because I'm gone. It's an 1,800-mile trip one way. You get out west and you might be 75 miles before you hit a gas station, extra fuel, extra water, some MREs, some dehydrated food, just because, that's what I do anyway, took my bushcraft bag with me. I was hoping I could get a couple days where I could peace out and enjoy nature a little bit more. And unfortunately I didn't get to do all that I wanted to do. I will be back.
Right.
Medicine Bow and Root National Forest has my name written all over it.
Right. And for those of you that want to go see, over on your Facebook page, I will post links down in the description. You posted a lot of those pictures.
I did, and I have more to post, and I'm gonna put them all into a timeline and try to do something a little bit nicer. I was just randomly posting stuff because some of it was just really cool,
Oh yeah.
And some of the pictures I took, I'm not a photographer at all. And some of them turned out really good.
Oh yeah.
We're going to get some of them blown up and in frames. They turned out that good.
Yes.
It's really easy out there. I'll tell you that. Coming from, Ohio, and I've been out west before. I've been to Utah. I've been all over the world. But spending that amount of time out in Utah and Colorado, especially in that area, I was in the northeastern part of Utah. Boy, I tell you what, you better know your stuff. Even going for a hike, all the classes and all the training that I've done, that I've given, that I've taken, I've learned from everybody. It never ends. Literally never ends. The one thing I learned pretty much the first day I went for a hike is that whatever you think you can do out there is different than what you can do back here. So back here, if I put on my ruck and I might go for a 20-mile ruck. You go for a 20-mile ruck out there, you're spent.
Yep.
You're done. The physicality of it is completely different when you climb a 7,000 or 8,000 foot mountain compared to a 2,000 foot hill here in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
So there's a learning curve with that. The other thing I learned is that you better pay attention to the landscape. It's a lot different. The high desert is very much different than Ohio. In Ohio, you can walk up a hill and walk down it. Out in Utah, you might be able to walk up that hill. That doesn't mean you can walk down it. You can get pigeonholed into a draw and not have any good way to get back out again. So you got to pay attention to what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
And knowing how to read a compass, map, navigation, GPS, whatever you want to use, you really should know what you're doing. You should go take a class, go learn from somebody that knows how to teach it. Everybody says they know how to do it, but not everybody can teach it. And there's a difference. There's some really good teachers out there. Sean Kelly from Corporal's Corner is probably one of the most direct navigation teaching instructors I've ever had the pleasure of working around or learning from. His technique is by far straightforward to the point, but it's relatable and anybody can. So it's not hard to learn. You need to know how to do it for your own sake.
Oh yeah.
I did crunch an elk on the way back home. I literally left after being there for so long. I had looked for elk the whole time I was out there. Never saw an elk. I'm on my way home, an hour and a half from where I was at, just crossed into the Colorado border, and I hit an elk. It's like, you got to be kidding me. It really messed up the truck pretty good, and I drove it the rest of the way home. I mean, the truck's a beast. I'll give her that. But you never know what can happen.
Yeah. Well, and I was sitting there looking at your pictures. You told me you got back, and I was like, oh, cool. And I saw pictures. I'm like, swipe, and I'm going, oh man, it's beautiful. Oh, you're so lucky. What'd you do to your truck?
Yep. An elk jumped out at me. I was doing 65, 70 mile an hour. And honestly, it was one of those things. Everybody always says it. You never see it. I saw it, but all I saw was it at the right corner of my truck, and that was it. And it was a full-grown bull elk, so I'm going to say anywhere from 7 to 1,100 pounds. I don't know. I got lucky. If I would have hit him square on, I might not be. So I got lucky.
Yeah.
But the prepping, you know, I had my rucksack with me, my bushcraft rucksack, so I'm safe. I can go anywhere and do anything with that ruck, and I'm good for 2 weeks. You know, there's enough food in there to keep me going for 2 weeks, enough ways to purify water and make a fire and everything else. I'm good for 2 solid weeks. That went in the truck with me. Yes, I'm staying at a hotel or whatever, but it's in the truck. If I need it, I got it. I have a system for bushcraft and survival, and I also have a system for prepping, and everything is linear. It's in sections. So you have food preps, you have water preps, you have light preps, you have heat preps, you have energy preps, you have house preps. Everything is linear. Tools, and everybody should have that. And most people do. They just don't realize what they have. For example, your home. Your home is your castle. Everybody always talks about bugging out. And the reality of bugging out is bugging out your last ditch thing. You shouldn't bug out unless you absolutely have to. You don't just wake up, because I'm telling you right now, especially if you're taking your family with you, you can't throw enough stuff into your vehicle or a trailer to adequately prepare your family for anything. You might think you can. I'm telling you, unless you have a place already set up to go to, it's not happening. If everybody's doing it, it's chaos. It's mayhem. I have served in the military. I've been in some pretty disturbed areas, and it's not pretty, and it's not easy. Thank God I was in the military. I didn't have to actually live that, but to go through those areas and see what happens in Bosnia Herzegovina in the early '90s, it's pretty shocking. You know, and even today's standards, if you go to Gaza, you know, we don't need to get political here, but there's a cost for everything. And, I don't think people really understand what that cost really is.
No, and I really think, though, it's one of those ones where everybody has their own kind of definition, and I know it's all about perception. I think I was on Lucky Dame Preparedness. She had her social Sunday, and she was reading Reddit of all things, and somebody said something about preparedness, and their comment was, well, that's not really prepping. That's just being an actual responsible adult. And I was like, you know, if you're just starting out, that's actually kind of true.
It is. And one of the philosophies that my grandfather passed down to me is that you're responsible. If you're the man of the house, you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible to your family. And that's your job. Your job is to make sure that you have thought about a tornado hitting, and what do you do? Power outage. What do you do? That's your job. Your job, your duty is to make sure that you can take care of everybody that you're responsible to. You're responsible for yourself, but you're responsible to many others. Case in point, when COVID hit and everybody freaked out, I wasn't really stressed about it. You know, the wife and the kids were very, very concerned about it, but I wasn't. And I think that really helped our family because I wasn't stressed about it. Yes, we had some decisions to make on, you know, well, we going to school, not going to school, or, you know, and then that got taken away from you and you're not going to school. Then, you know, how do you get groceries? You know, what do you do with your groceries? Do you have to sanitize your groceries? You know, nobody knew the extent of what had happened. Thank God it wasn't as bad as what they put it out to be. And I think we're lucky for that because there are situations where it could be that bad, but nobody knew. And even though nobody knew, I wasn't really freaked out about it. I was concerned. Yes, I paid attention to it. And yes, I did what we had to do. But as far as getting groceries, I just sanitized the groceries. Oh, how did I sanitize the groceries? I had hydrogen peroxide and alcohol on hand. You know, that was part of my medical preps. You know, I had the stuff here. I made my own hand sanitizer because you couldn't find any to buy any. Everybody bought it up. I made my own. Okay. if nothing else, I can wipe down the mail before we open it. Silly things now we look back on now and we laugh like,
Right.
I'm like, didn't everybody? I mean, nobody knew what was really going on, but I wasn't concerned about it. I didn't get anxious about it. I didn't get scared about it. I didn't need to be. I'm covered. If we can't buy groceries for a month, we can't buy groceries for a month. We're
Yep.
still going to eat. Might not be what everybody likes, but you're still going to have nutrition.
Yep.
And that's probably the biggest takeaway for prepping. And I think that's what really has given a boost to prepping in the last couple of years is that whole COVID experience that everybody went through across the world. This wasn't an isolated incident where the UK went into lockdown and nobody in America did. It was everybody everywhere.
Yep.
Went through the same experience. And I think you saw a change where preppers before that time, people looked at preppers as, oh, those guys are crazy. And now they're not.
Yep.
Well, I've been doing it for a long time. A lot of us have been doing it for a long time. We've never been crazy. We're just responsible to ourselves, for ourselves, and to others. And that's all it comes down to. The bushcraft side of it for me, that's my passion. That's my love. I love being outside. I love being in the woods. Sometimes I talk to trees better than I talk to people. And I tell people that all the time. Like I'm a lot more comfortable going out and talking to a tree than I am talking to you. It's not a slight. I like being outside, and it's not that I'm a loner. I just enjoy that time. It's my reset. Some people might play cards for the reset or play video games. I go to the woods.
Yep.
I like the woods. So what we make here, God, I've got so much stuff to show, so much to tell. We're going to have to break this up into a couple different things. But I've got so many different ideas that float around in my head. And then I get started on something and I can't stop. So before I left for work out in Utah, I made some stropping boards.
Strop boards?
Yep. I made 2 different sizes. And then I thought, well, I got to make, I didn't really like the compound that you buy. So I thought, well, I can make a better compound than what you buy, right?
Right.
So I did a bunch of research and I bought some diamond dust and I emulsified it into my proprietary wax and I put it into lipstick containers. And the thing with stropping compound is you don't need much. And you only do one side of if you have a dual stropping board, you only put it on one side. You always leave one side completely free of anything. And you don't need much. This tube will last you a lifetime, and I'm making different grits. This is a 15,000 grit. I've got a 30,000 grit that I'll be making next week. So I make stuff. I make little kits, little fire kits. I sent you some stuff, and boy, that didn't even scratch the surface of it. One of my favorite things is a bow drill set.
Ooh.
And I specifically made these not so much because I wanted to sell them. Definitely not because I was making any money off of them. I was actually spending a heck of a lot more time than what I charged for them. But kids really love these.
Oh, yeah.
And
it makes it more fun. It gets everybody involved.
It gets everybody involved. And so I hand sanded and shaped every bearing block to fit your hand so that it fits a specific way so your fingers don't get in the way and it's comfortable in your hand. I sourced on some of these, I sourced fat wood spindles, and it really makes it a lot easier to get a fire going with a bow drill.
Oh yeah.
The hearth board, I use dry cedar, which once again makes it easier because most kids get pretty frustrated after a short amount of time. And then I set up the actual string, drill holes in through so that because every bow has its own shape and where it's going to want to lay. So I check that out, and then I put the string in. You just have to tighten it up to how tight you want it, but it's already there and it's set up so that it works correctly for you. Yeah, I sell these, but I don't make any money off of them, to be honest with you. It's just it's more for, and I give them away. A lot of times I'll have young kids come up and they'll want to look at stuff.
Right. Oh, I dropped my thing here because you and I kind of was at the beginning. We kind of started about the same time, just by coincidence.
We
And
did.
so I started ordering your products, which there's the light. So I started getting stuff, and then even this one, you guys can see that's used. This was used in a video when I bought it, and I didn't tell you that I was going to do this big video. And if you haven't seen it, go back and check it out. It's kind of before my editing days, so it's very raw. But I took some of these. Let's see if I can find one. Yeah, I think it was one of these, one of your little pills, and I put it in water. And I started the video, and I was doing some reviews and showcasing some stuff. And then I think it was about 10 minutes into it, I pulled it out. You can see the water dripping off. I'm like, let's test this out. And it fired right up.
Yep. They all do. I think, I don't know, maybe 20 different types of fire starter extenders. Each one has its own that's the big one. There's the big biscuit. A lot of older people like those because it's big and they can get a hold of it. Fire discs, a bunch of different types. Fire plugs, the fire starter, the Leviathan fire starter. I went to the old school boot camp last year. That right there. Mm-hmm. And I sold out of those in the first day. There were people that literally called me, emailed me for months wanting those. It's simple. It's a ferro rod, a piece of metal, and wax jute rope. You can't go wrong with it. And it'll always work. And
you send it. Do you still send it like this where it's packed like that?
Yep. All my fire starting stuff comes sealed, vacuum sealed. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is that you can throw it in your pack and leave it. You'll never, ever have to worry about it. You're not going to have to worry about it even if it does get wet. But if it does get hot and some of that wax comes off, you're not getting it all over your gear.
Yep.
The other reason is it's fire and forget. You throw that in your pack, 35 years from now, you can pull it out, use it, and it's brand new.
Yep.
It'll never go bad.
Yep.
No, the ferro rod will never oxidize. You'll never have an issue with it. I do that with a lot of things just because it shrinks package space, so you can throw it into a pack, and that's a big concern for a lot of people when they're packing a bug out bag or a go bag or a bushcraft bag is space. You don't have space for all that you think you need, and that's another huge problem is that people think they need more than what they really do. You don't really need a lot.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons why I package stuff that way. I sell flint and steel kits. The hard.
I swear this wasn't set up.
Not at all. The tempered nail. I actually had surgery on my shoulder. I had a bunch of surgeries in the last couple of years, but the one of them I couldn't move my arm for months, and I was trying to start a flint and steel fire with one hand, and you can't do it with one hand. You know, you actually have to hold steel and you have to hold flint and you have to strike it together. And it's really hard to do that with one hand. Can't do it. So I was trying to figure out, well, how do I get a flint and steel fire going with one hand? I thought, well, I wonder if a nail will work. Now, regular nails don't work. You got to use hardened tempered nails, mason nails, the big mason nails, 3-inch. And you prop that up into a stump and you can pound that down into the stump so that it's sturdy. And then you can take your flint and you can one-handed run your flint over that hardened tempered nail and it'll take a spark. And what really works is if you pound that nail through a piece of char cloth into the stump and then do it, and then your sparks have a better chance of hitting that char cloth. And once you get a number in your char cloth, then you can transfer it over to your bird's nest with one hand. You can get a fire going with one hand. I thought that was kind of neat, kind of brilliant. Never really seen many people trying to do that. And what are the chances that you hurt yourself and you can only use one hand?
Yep.
It happens. We don't want it to happen, but it does happen.
And for those that don't know, you send char cloth in some of your kits and stuff. And actually, weirdly enough, my video of how to make char cloth came out. So if you don't know how to make your own, you can go back. Yeah. But you also, on your kits, you also sell actual little.
I do.
Yes.
I've got a ton of kits. You can check out the website, Etsy. You can call me, email me, whatever you want to do. But I make a ton of different kits for a bunch of different reasons, and they all have the fire kits. All have the same principle. You know, how to get a fire started using whatever you have in that kit, and they're relatively small and lightweight. So you can throw it in your pocket, you can throw it in your bag. You don't have to worry about it so much. Yeah, I'm not used to being on camera doing this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, size of a pin to,
Right.
I mean, these things are so, and this right here, I put this in my Christmas giveaway just because this is almost like a little complete kit, which it's not going to do it because of the glare. Yeah,
That
that right
kit,
there is everything you need.
yep. And that particular little kit, that's the mini kit.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was I ordered the tins and they came in the wrong size. They came in really small. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what am I going to do with that? And so as a gag, I made really, really, really small
Mm-hmm.
fire kits. And I'm like, well, you can literally put that in your front pocket and forget it's even there. You don't feel it. It weighs nothing.
Front pocket. I love this because I don't know if you can see it. This goes right there in that little watch pocket, and look at that disappear.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you always have something. Now, I will tell you this: those really small kits, that one right there,
mm-hmm.
you better practice with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I put a little piece of flint in there. You can use anything. You can use a knife, a 90-degree spine off of a knife to strike it. But that little piece of flint and that little tiny ferro rod, it will get a spark going. It's got a little bit of practice, but you can do it pretty easy. But it works, and it's quick, simple, and it's effective.
Yep.
I've got a lot of stuff coming in the future. I've made some signal kits. I don't even know if I've advertised those yet or not. Some fishing kits.
Ooh.
The fishing kits come in these plastic bottles with a steel tin, and they have everything in there you need to fish, from setting up a trout line to jug fishing if you can find a jug, bank lines. It comes with a bank line on it, fishing line, a bunch of different sinkers, a bunch of swivels, a bunch of different hooks, a bobber. It even comes with a quick release trap. Now, you can only use that if you check your local laws, because not every state allows those.
Mm-hmm.
But in an emergency, it's there. You can use it. A bunch of different flint, all kinds of different stuff. Some kits. These are one of my personal mainstays. These kits they strap right to your LBE or your backpack straps. I keep a ham radio. The other one has a Garmin GPS 66i. And then inside the bottom, I have a fishing kit, a fire starting kit with a ferro rod, nail, jute rope, fire starters, a flashlight, little mini flashlight, and then spare batteries.
Mm-hmm.
But these will be available soon too. That's the whole kit. What I've been trying to do is make things as small and user-friendly as you can, because nobody wants to carry 17 pounds of unnecessary gear that's bulky.
Yep.
And you don't need something. You don't need a lot of something. You need the right things to do the right task. And that's what you need. You don't need 17 Bic lighters, or you need one Bic lighter or two Bic lighters. And I always suggest you have a Bic lighter because it's quick and it's easy.
Yep.
But the primitive ways of starting fire, or the non-traditional ways of starting a fire, with a ferro rod, flint, steel, even sun rays, using solar reflectors. Some of those that I've got are actually the bomb. I mean, they will light anything. You can use water. There's a bunch of different ways. You can use chemical means to make water. I'm also making water purification and water safe kits. They'll be relatively small. They're going to come with a millbank bag. Those are in production right now from Possum Pouch. So if you're not familiar with Possum Pouch, he makes the best gear. In fact, I tried to start making my own bags, and number one, I don't have the skill. So I stopped making my own bags. I can't. They just don't turn out as good. Yeah, they're just not that good. I do a lot of things well. Making bags is not one of them. Possum Pouch, he's a great guy. Makes the best gear. He's going to be making the bill banks for me, but they're going to have purification tablets in there, a grail, and then it'll all be in one kit so that you have a smaller kit that all fits snug together so that you can purify water. But everything has a system and a place and what you put into your bag and how you use it. And the one thing I try to teach people is that you don't have to have or know everything. What you have to have is the right mindset.
Yep.
So if you have a problem and you don't know how to solve it, but you know how to solve problems, you'll figure it out.
Yep.
And you can be traditional, non-traditional. It doesn't matter as long as the end result is the same.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I try to teach people how to do, is how to overcome the obstacles that they think they know or see or feel, and how to overcome those to get a result that you need.
Yep.
So how to build a shelter, how to find food, how to forage food, how to purify water, how to make a shelter that is not only comfortable, but also will keep you warm and out of the elements. Because there's a difference. You can be warm and sopping wet, or you can be wet and die. There's a lot of different things that people don't take into consideration when they're making shelters. And that's just one thing. I'm a huge gear guy. I love gear, love knives. I'm in talks with BPS Knives out of Ukraine. They're making my own design knife. I sell their knives. I love their knives. That's why I sell them. I'm not going to be rude here, but they're cheap. And they work. Most of them are 1066 carbon steel. They do sell some stainless steel knives that work great too, but they're cheap. Anybody that goes out and spends $600 on a knife, on a bushcraft or survival knife, they're not using it.
Yep.
It's a safe queen. It's like somebody spending $4,000 on a gun that they never shoot because they don't want to crash the stock. To me, that makes no sense. If I go out in the woods and I lose a knife, I don't want to cry about it for 3 weeks that I lost, and I'm not going to if I lose a $30 knife.
Yep.
But it has to work, and you can see on the wall behind me. I mean, good Lord, I've got plenty of them, because they're cheap and they work, and they come razor sharp. They take an edge. They're easy to sharpen. I don't know what more you can ask for. So that's a little bit about what I do. Why I do it is because it gives me peace of mind.
Yes.
Everybody has a hobby. Everybody has their thing, right? We all go to work. Work might be your thing. Most people, work is not their thing. For me, bushcraft and survival and prepping, that's my thing. That's what I like to do. That's what I enjoy. My end result is to be closer to nature and spend time in nature. I want nothing more than to see the birds fly and know why they're flying, where they're going, what they're going for. I want to see the deer in the morning. I want to see the fog settle in the evening. I want to see that sunset. If you look at a lot of my pictures that I posted in the last couple of months, you see a lot of sunrises and a lot of sunsets. It's the beginning and it's the end, and that's how you start your day. Every day, if you can see a sunrise every morning and your feet are on the ground, life's good.
Yep.
Trust me, there's a lot of people out there that aren't as blessed as we are.
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions you have for me, Jason?
Well, and you brought up some interesting things. So on yours, the way that you said on like the reason you did the knife, so you had the thing in there. So if you go out here and you spend that $600, you're not using it. But a lot of these, because this right here, this is what, $5, $6 on your website?
I think it's $5. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those, Christmas is coming up. This channel is nothing but for new preppers and things like that. If you've never done anything like this, it's $5. It's great practice. Stuff like this, and a lot of this stuff's what, $15, $20, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not a businessman, and I hate to say that out loud. I should be charging a lot more than what I do. God, I hope my wife doesn't see this. Love you, honey. But there's a reason for that as well. It's not because I'm a new startup business and trying to get customers. I'm trying to charge something that people can afford to get, that they can use, that they're not going to go spend $300 for something that really need.
Yep.
You know, I'd rather you spend $25 and you use it, and you can use it for the rest of your life. Because let's be honest, a big ferro rod is great. You can get one on Amazon for $30. A 6 inch by half-inch ferro rod for $30. I don't think you could name me 5 people that have ever used a ferro rod till it was completely exhausted.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen. You could camp every day for basically 30 years and never use all of that. Maybe that. But people you don't need it.
No, and then that comes into it. I get this a lot, and it's, you get those same sort of common mistakes for people that's just starting out, and I get them all the time. And I don't know if it's my calling or whatever. You see those bigger channels where somebody starts. You got to start from somewhere, you know, and people start every day, and they go into these channels or these social medias or whatever, and they go, "What's a ferro rod?" And they just obliterate them. And I'm going, no, if they don't know, they don't know.
They don't know. They're asking a question. They're trying to learn something. Teach them. Show them. Better yet, you know what? You know, if some of your viewers have never seen a ferro rod, come check out my channel. I'm sure I've got plenty of videos on how to use a ferro rod. It might not be labeled that way, but you're going to see me using a ferro rod, probably giving you instructions on how to light a fire extender, a fire starter using a ferro rod. You know, watch the video. If you have questions, if anybody has any questions whatsoever, just call me, email me. There's nothing better in this world than passing on knowledge. Truly, you know, nothing better in this world than passing on knowledge. And there's so much that we can talk about. I actually bought some new gear. It's not new, it's used, and I can't wait to show that going. I'm going to test it as soon as I can get out in the woods here, hopefully next week. But learning the ins and outs of it for me is beneficial because it's going to teach somebody else. I don't want somebody to go buy something. I might not be selling it. Probably won't be selling some of this stuff, but I don't want somebody to go buy it if it doesn't work well for me, because I use it. You know, I mean, when I say I'm going to go for a 20-mile hike, that's with an 85-pound ruck on because I'm training myself. You know, not everybody trains with an 85-pound ruck. You know, I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm 50 some years old, you know, but I still train so that I can go do stuff, you know, and I'll run the young kids into the ground. I can go all day, you know, but I don't want somebody to go spend $300 on a pack that isn't worth a crap. You know, to be quite honest, I've been using an Alice pack, a large Alice pack for the last 15 years. I finally bought myself a new pack. GI issue. They're expensive now, you know, secondhand. I'm glad I bought it, you know, 25 years ago, but that's what I used in the military, and that's what I've been using for years and years and years. I bought a new pack. I got the military sleep system. That's going to be a video coming soon. I didn't have that luxury when I was in. We had a down sleeping bag. If it got wet, you're screwed, you know. So this military sleep system is going to be a new thing for me. We're going to see how that works. Hopefully it gets really cold here and I can get out there and really test it out. But you don't even need that. I've been out there when it's 5 degrees below zero with -20 wind chill and just had 2 wool blankets, a Pathfinder wool blanket and an Arcturus wool blanket, and I'm fine. And there was one night that I was literally so warm in my tarp setup that I didn't use a blanket, and it was like 12 degrees outside. How you build your shelter is crucial, you know. So those are the skills that people need to learn. Prepping is a multitude of things for many different people. I like to do the outdoor stuff. I also like to, you know, stock my cans and my beans and my rice and, you know, my water preps and my energy preps and generators and solar and everything else, because I think that's necessary. But that's not my passion. My passion is to get you out in the woods, you know, take you out in the woods and let you see something. But why go to the woods? You go to the woods so that you can see that beaver first thing in the morning, you know, so that you can see that sparrow. Why is that sparrow going here? You know, why are they flying this way? Or why is the eagle doing that? Or why is a hawk doing this? Why are the chipmunks, you know, what are they gathering? And what I've learned, one of the things I've learned is that if you watch the animals, they're going to teach you something. All you have to do is look, listen, and smell. If you can do those 3 things, You can literally get through the woods and never have an issue. Training yourself to do that is a completely different story.
Yep.
Anybody ever gets a chance, go check out Nature Reliance School. Bart Cottle does a great tracking class. You know, I mean, some of these guys are really good. Dave Canterbury. If you can't learn something from Dave Canterbury to Pathfinder School, I'm just going to be brutally honest. If you can't learn going to any of his classes, you may have some challenges. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I'm saying is that the way that these people teach, it's for everybody, and everybody can learn from it. And when you learn from it, then you can start to enjoy. So once you start to learn and enjoy, then you get the whole purpose of why learning some of this stuff is so important. It's so that you can enjoy what you're doing out there.
Yep.
Nobody wants to go out and run around the woods and, you know, kill themselves and be exhausted at the end of the day. You want to go out and enjoy it, be safe, be comfortable. Now that's what bushcraft is. It's how to make yourself comfortable in any situation. Survival is the same thing. Survival is a little bit different because survival is, you know, oh my God, I self-rescue, you know, how do I first aid? How do I take care of myself? How do I feed myself? I'm in a dire situation. But let's be honest. Most people are never, ever, ever going to be in a survival situation. That's just reality. Even the people that enjoy the outdoors, the hikers, the bushcrafters, you know, the through hikers, they're never going to be in a survival situation. If they are, and they've had some training, it'll save their life.
Yep.
And that's the whole purpose behind it. And that's something that people really probably should do. If you're a big hiker, if you love through hiking, you need to go take a survival class through a reputable, you know, instructor or program. And they're all over the world. Go to England. The UK is just, they have some of the greatest instructors in the world. Paul Kirtley. I mean, these people have been doing this for a long, long time. And I'm not talking about the flashy guys that are on TV, you know. It's not a TV show. You know what I mean? I love watching alone. Don't get me wrong. Give me 10 items and send me out there. I'd be happy. Might not be fat, but I'd be happy, you know. But it's a TV show. Survivor and all those crazy TV shows. They're TV shows. It's for entertainment. You know, I don't care what anybody tells you. A lot of stuff's scripted and yada, yada. It doesn't matter. What matters is getting out in the woods, getting out in the fields, getting on the rivers, and just enjoying what it's all about. And I hope that's what people, like from just this interview right here, I hope that's what people take away. Get out and go enjoy it. And you don't have to go into the wilderness to do that. You can go to the state park. You can go to the field across the street. You will find something to enjoy. Just open your eyes, look and listen.
But and I just went through and I did a couple of days. Well, it actually probably be about a week from the release of this with Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee. I mean, she started and kind of helped start the Self-Reliance Festival, and then next week I've got Old School Survival Boot Camp is going to come on, and we're going to talk about that. And this is one of those ones. This gives you a great chance to talk to really good people that are good trainers. This is a great chance to network.
Yes. And I'll say this about Old School Survival Boot Camp. I've been there twice now. And as a vendor and an instructor, and I'll be going again. I'll be going every year. A couple stories before I get into that. One of them directly has to do with Old School Survival Boot Camp. So I sell flint. And I always have flint set up at my booth. Wherever I'm have a vendor set up, I'd always have some flint there. And here's what I've learned about selling rocks. Flint. Kids love flint. They love. I don't understand it. It's a universal thing. Every kid loves a rock. So this little boy comes down the first day. I just set up. Still in the process of setting up. This boy comes down. He's probably, I don't know, 12, 13 years old. He comes down. He's looking at everything and checking stuff out. Is that flint? Yeah, that's flint. You know, and I'm still trying to set up. And he goes, "You need help?" yeah, he can help me. You know, grab some stuff out of the truck, start setting it up. He's 12, 13. I don't know who this kid is. He doesn't know me. That's that's part of the caliber of what you meet at that Old School Survival Boot Camp is that the people that go there to learn, to share, they all have a common factor. And personally, I met some really, really great people there. I did not have any bad experiences whatsoever. And I walked away from that whole experience realizing that there are good people everywhere. So that little boy kept coming back to my booth 15 times every day. Every day. He would go find flint out in the woods, bring it back and say, is this flint? That's flint. And I had one big, huge piece, like 8-pound rock of flint. And he kept looking at it. So I had a giveaway box. And he goes, can I put my name in the giveaway box? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I don't have an email. I said, you don't need an email. Just put your name and phone number. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can give out my phone number. Well, just put your name in there. Okay. So the last day, I'm packing up, and I'd drawn a name out and I'd given something away, and I couldn't remember his first name. Like, oh my Lord. So I dump everything out, and I'm going through all the little tabs looking for one that just has a boy's name on it that doesn't have a phone number and email. And thank God there was only one in there. And then I didn't see him. I'm like, oh, did he leave? Another boy comes down. It kept coming down. I said, hey, I can't remember his name. We'll just say Mark. I said, is Mark still here? He goes, oh yeah, Mark's up at the camper. They're packing up and getting ready to go. I said, go get Mark. Tell him to come down here. Runs up. He gets Mark. Mark runs all the way. He's running. He runs all the way down. He gets down there. Yeah, what's up, Dustin? And I grabbed that big piece of flint. And I said, you won this, buddy. And you would have thought that I gave him the sun, the moon, and the stars.
Yep.
And he carried that big rock all the way up that hill. And I'm sure his parents are like, what are you doing with that big rock? It's flint, Mom. It's just the stories you get and the experiences you get, and I was giving fire starters away, and, it just, not to just give away, but to the little kids. I saw little kids that were 4 or 5 years old. They were down there with a ferro rod working on getting my fire starters lit. 4 or 5 years old. Yep. And they would spend it's building motor skills. If nothing else, it's building motor skills. But they wouldn't stop until they'd get it. And then they'd come over and they'd show me. And that's cool. That's great. You learned a skill. That's something they can use at 4. Really? I had a hard time hitting the toilet when I was 4. You got to edit that out.
Nope, that stays. Well, and that goes into it too. I get that question all the time of, I'm starting to get into it. I just found your channel and all this, and how do I get my family involved? And I'm like, find fun things, because kids like to do, everybody likes to do fun things. Like, don't do the worst drudging thing right off the bat and go, hey, let's go. No, go take a hike. Go build a fire. Go do something really fun and get everybody engaged. I mean, you have a ton of things that you can offer.
Oh yeah. And with my grandkids, I haven't started them out by taking them for a 15-mile, ruck march. We go down to the local state park, and I taught them how to skip rocks. Mm-hmm. That was their first experience really outdoors, was learn how to skip a rock. And now they want to go down and skip rocks. Next month we're going to go fishing, and then 3 months we're going to go for maybe an overnight. We'll set up a tent. We won't go too rough. We'll set up a tent. You got to break it, especially the younger there. You got to break them in the right way. You don't just make things hard for them. That's not what it's about. It's about enjoying what you're doing and who you're doing it with, and that's up to you how you do that. Because every kid's different. Every adult's different. I could never get my wife to go camping with me. That's just not unless we have a fifth wheel, and a really nice one. Mm-hmm. Probably not even then. She might be at the Hilton or the Marriott. Mm-hmm. She'll support me. It's just she's not going to support me in a tarp underneath the tarp. Mm-hmm. But she understands that that's my oxygen. That's what I need, Mm-hmm. So when I say I gotta go talk to the trees, she's like, okay. And here's another little valuable lesson that I try to teach people is that, especially for what I do, I might be gone for a couple days, who knows where, but I always give her an itinerary. And I do that every time I leave. I actually print it out saying, I'm going here. This is who who's responsible in that area, whether it's local law enforcement, sheriffs, park rangers, their contact numbers. I give her the actual grid coordinates for where I'm going to start, and I have a pre-planned route that I probably will follow, but not necessarily. And then where I'm probably going to stop at with different locations that I might spend the night. But it gives an idea, and I always tell her which direction I'm going to go if I'm gonna run a trail. But that way it gives her peace of mind. And then I always say, like, because where I go, there's no cell coverage. You're not taking a cell call. You're not texting anything. It's just not going to happen. So I made a mistake that I was going to one particular place a lot. And I told her, I said, hey, I'm going here. I'm going to be gone for a couple days. And I'll text you at the last possible minute before I lose cell coverage. I'll text you and let you know that I'm there. And then I'll text you as soon as I get back out. But I didn't give her the itinerary. And I left. And I go do my thing, right? Before I get down into the holler where I know I'm not going to have cell coverage, I shoot her a text, say, hey, I love you, babe. I'll talk to you when I get out. Okay. I go down, I spend, I don't know, I think I've done there 3 days, 3 nights. And I come back out and I get in the truck and I drive a little bit and I finally get cell coverage and my phone blows up. Where are you? Are you okay? You know, she had notified authorities. You know, she was worried to death about me because I didn't give her that itinerary. I failed protocol. Our protocol was that I give her an itinerary that says where I'm going, what I'm doing, where I'm going to be, you know, when I'm leaving, when I'm coming back. If you don't hear from me by this time, call these people.
Yep.
And I didn't do that. I verbally told her, but I didn't give her that piece of paper. Oh, that was a bad ride home.
And lesson learned. Big
lesson learned. So the whole way home, I'm thinking, well, I've got to figure out how I'm going to remedy this situation. And then that's what prompted the purchase of this.
Oh,
the Garmin GPS 66i. Not plug-in products. I'm not getting paid by them or anything. Nothing's free for me. But I can text. It's satellite texting. I can get the weather. I can shoot her a text. I got home. She's like, you gotta solve this. We can't have that again. And I completely agree with her. She's 100% correct. There can never be any doubt about when you're coming back or where you're going to be. If something happens to you, you have no way of knowing. It's not going to do you any good, you know. So that's a little safety measure, you know. Plus, it's got maps on it, GPS. If you get lost, it's your own fault, you know. But so there's a lot of different little tips and tricks and stuff like that. We're definitely going to have to go over. I'm not very good at doing gear reviews. I'm not really good at doing the YouTube thing. In fact, I'm not real photogenic, and I don't really like being on camera and talking on camera all that much. But I do like to show stuff, and I do like to do stuff. I am going to get you out in the woods.
Yes. Yeah, I've been needing it, and I'm excited because I want my I think next year I'm going to actually take the little one for his actual first like overnight outside. We've got his little Paw Patrol tent already set up in the living room, so he's getting used to that, and we're doing some things. So I'm really excited because as the channel grows, I think he's going to do a video with me on his first overnight.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's the way it should be. You should be bringing in the little ones with you and sharing your life with them, so they get a different perspective of dad or mom and what it is that we do. This has been a great interview, Jason. I appreciate the time. No, I rambled on quite a bit. You have a lot of editing to do.
No,
and we didn't even really touch any products or anything like that.
I wrote a whole big itinerary of different things to ask, and I think we covered 3 out of like 20. So
we'll definitely do some more. I definitely think the live Q&A will be nice.
Yes,
especially if we get some good feedback from people asking good, solid questions. And there's a lot of things that I take for granted that people don't know that I know, and sometimes I need that refresher. Like, you know, how do you number 2 in the woods? You know, simple things like that. You know, hygiene. How do you handle hygiene? I mean, literally, we could have a topic every week on one particular thing,
Yep.
and just do that. In addition to gear reviews and how to use the gear and what to use the gear, and where you should use this type of gear or not use this type of gear, and
Yep.
because not everything is made the same or made for specific reasons.
Yep.
So we have a lot of work ahead of us, I think, my friend.
Yeah, I think we do. So, and you know what? I know the little timer. Well, no, it's over this way. I can't do cameras. The little timer thing says we're right at the hour, but in tradition, I ask everybody, because this is the channel for new preppers. What would be your best advice for the person that comes along and they're just starting out or thinking about starting out? What's your best advice to them?
My best advice,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, if you've made the determination that you're going to prep, make sure that you have made that decision. And once you do, pick one thing and start there. If it's food, it's food. Research, study, and do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of good information. There's a lot of bad information.
Mm-hmm.
Check your sources. Find reputable sources,
Mm-hmm.
not some Joe Schmo down the street telling you how to pressure can, because Lord knows you could end up with botulism.
Yep.
But pick one thing and start with that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I promise you this, especially when it comes to prepping, that once you start with that one thing, your mind will automatically go to two things, three things. You will have a list of 6,000 different things that you think you need to do.
Yep.
Don't do the 6,000 things. Do one thing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's food, do food. When you're comfortable with your food preps, do water preps. Do your shelter preps.
That was all you, brother.
Where did those balloons come?
That wasn't me.
I didn't do that. Oh, wow, that just got really weird really quick, didn't it?
And that's not getting edited out. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's what everybody wants to see, is me going, "What the hell was that?" Oh yeah. But yeah, pick one thing, do that one thing until you're confident in your ability, your skill set, and your quantity of preps that you think you need, and then go on to the second thing. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it keeps you grounded into a system that you're not going to go crazy trying to accomplish, because you cannot accomplish. You can have all the money in the world, and you cannot accomplish everything that you need to prep all at once.
Nope.
You can't do it.
Nope.
It'll drive you insane.
Mm-hmm.
So pick one thing, learn it, do it well, then go to the second thing. I can give you a progressive list of what to work for,
mm-hmm.
but those new people that are just starting out, pick one thing, do that one thing, and you'll figure out, and you'll listen. Everybody knows how to prep nowadays. Listen to everybody, and then make your own decisions on what you need, because everybody is an individual, and my needs are different than your needs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best advice I could give you.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But before I end, I have to give my shout out, because my little one wished me a very good interview, and he sat in Daddy's chair in front of the little camera, and he said, "Like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in." And he was playing Dad, and he couldn't be out here, so he gave me the little smiley face. So that way he was with me during the interview, and I'm sure he's going to be watching right now. So hi, buddy. So, all right. Well, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate, because we are doing the premiere, so everybody is still here. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And with that, if you have anything else you would like to say, go ahead and give out whatever you want on all of your places everybody can find you.
Yes, I'm on Etsy, JKSurvivalBushcraft.etsy.com. I have my website, JKSurvivalBushcraft.com. On Facebook, I post pretty regularly on Facebook. I try to stay pretty active on that, if nothing else, just with pictures of things that I'm doing or seeing or done. You can check me out there. The website's great. I have a blog post on my website. It's a little hard to navigate through, but once you find the blogs, I write articles on there, post those all the time. I'll share those to Instagram, Twitter, and everything else. But the main thing is going to be Facebook, the website, and my Etsy store. I appreciate everybody that's tuned into this, watched this, and has communicated in any way, shape, or form with Jason and I. There is a ton of knowledgeable people out there. Listen to people, make your own decisions, but listen to people. And I wish everybody the greatest of holiday seasons. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and Merry Christmas. And I hope to meet everybody one-on-one, face-to-face someday. And hopefully, Jason, I am getting you out in the woods, buddy.
Oh yeah. Because you'll definitely meet me. I'll be going to some sort of survival boot camp or somewhere. So some self-reliance somewhere along the line, you're going to see us together.
Oh yeah. We'll do it. We'll have to do some more of these videos too, because I think we can pick each other's brains on a lot of different stuff.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys. We've taken up a ton, so we're going to sign off for now, and we're going to have a lot more to come. So stay tuned. And with that, just remember to remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.
All right. Thank you.